Hello guys, and flamingo pink is my favorite color this season, all because of the Ukrainian missiles flamingos that learned to fly really quickly and last night demilitarized a number of evil targets inside Russia and on the temporarily occupied territories of Crimea and Zaporizhia. They destroyed a number of oil depots and sea terminals, some helicopters, drones, and most importantly demonstrated that even in the times of the full-scale war, when so many of our allies are in doubt to supply Ukraine with missiles or not, we were capable to develop our own that now can travel deep inside Russia. Actually, it's funny to observe how people in Oryol, Russia Federation, where one flamingo or two flamingos were doing the job last night, first thought these were tests of Oreshnik. Imagine how surprised they were to learn from the Telegram channels that was a Ukrainian flamingo visiting. So surprised that Russians actually accidentally destroyed one more Su, their own Su in Karelia. They run out of fighter jets, they run out of civilian aviation, but they keep destroying them themselves. Thumbs up, because that's one more way to defeat Russia by demilitarizing it from inside, be it with Ukrainian missiles or with Russian negligence. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin in The Hague, subscribe, we will discuss that on the channel sometime really soon. Let's begin with this very important news that literally everyone in Ukraine is following, because flamingos are young. They were developed recently and we are always waiting for new proofs that they are effective. And I was happy to learn that last night a number of flamingos flew out and reached successfully their destinations. First of all, a number of evil objects were destroyed in Crimea, which Russians right now use as an important logistics hub for the Russian troops on the front lines in Ukraine. And last night they demilitarized a huge oil depot located near Yevpatoria, a sea oil terminal which was used to supply oil products to various locations of the Russian army, and a helicopter base. Once again, one of the main reasons why we need to return Crimea is not just the protection of the international law, because otherwise we open this Pandora box of problems for other territories and countries that live next to such dangerous neighbors as Russia, but also because Crimea is used by Russians as a platform for the supplies, as a platform for the logistics, and they often attack mainland Ukraine, if it's okay to say so, from Crimea with missiles, with other things, and even with assault groups that can travel from the peninsula. So the moment Crimea is liberated, Ukraine receives the necessary security guarantees. That's what we all in Ukraine understand, and missiles like Flamingo, like Neptunes, are working to deliver that. So the destruction of a terminal, of a helicopter base, of an important oil depot, and one more thing that I have almost forgotten about, that is a radar in Yevpatoria. Actually, most of Russia's air defense is located either in Crimea or around Putin's bunkers, Moscow, and sometimes St. Petersburg. Russia does not have enough air defense to protect their strategic sites like oil refineries. That's why they keep burning, but also you see their inability to protect themselves and the effectiveness both of the Ukrainian missiles and the Ukrainian drones on the example of Crimea. Honestly, here in Ukraine, we often joke that Russians keep bringing radars, air defense systems, and we keep destroying them in Crimea, and that's actually way easier than to try and reach them somewhere deeper inside Russia. This is not what they want, but they literally cannot do anything. Same as with their budget. And I often speak about that on the channel. Many of you wait for the collapse of the Russian economy. Some say, when will it happen? But trust me, the symptoms are very, very demonstrative. Another important thing that happened today is Russia's Su that decided to collapse somewhere on the territory of Karelia. By the way, another Russian region that has a great potential to become independent sometime really soon, because, well, it's very different from what you see in Moscow, it's very different from what you see in St. Petersburg, and there are so many beautiful nations located on the territory of the Russian Federation, now suppressed by the Kremlin, that simply sucks their resources and destroys their cultural, linguistic identities. But the defeat of the Kremlin will definitely lead to the liberation of such interesting and diverse peoples. So Russian Su-30 collapsed, the crew did not manage to evacuate, and thus the demilitarization of Russia continued, not just with the help of the Ukrainian army, but also with the help of the Russian army, perhaps too exhausted and pretty unprofessional, what was proved by the failed air defense, by the failed protection of their borders, by the war that returned to dozens of Russian regions, and even the extension of the NATO border. Putin spoke he needed to protect Russia from NATO, but actually enlarged the border with NATO more than 1,000 kilometers. Congratulations, Finland, again. By the way, let me know in the comments below, would you like an interview with some experts on the Russian economy? Because I feel like that's something I would like to talk about with more professional analytics. And when can we finally expect this total collapse and shutdown of everything inside Muscovy? And also, a lot of you are asking questions about a corruption scandal in Ukraine, about Energoatom, and you know that I'm always honest and open with you. I was very disappointed to learn about that, and everyone in Ukraine is following very attentively what will be next, what steps will be taken by the president, by the government. And the only thing that calms me down is the fact that this was investigated by the Ukrainian bodies. So this demonstrates that Ukraine actually fights corruption. And these are our anti-corruption bodies and services that open the case despite perhaps a lot of pressure and problems. And this is one more proof why this protest with cardboards that you remember and that I also supported a couple of months ago proved the need to protect these very anti-corruption bodies. So, of course, it's bad that it took place, but good that we are fighting against that, and you know about that, and it is open because of the efforts from inside Ukraine. I will keep you updated because that's exactly what everyone is following. But once again, you won't find any information like that in Russia, in Belarus, or other countries that are unfortunately controlled from the Kremlin, which is the mother or father of corruption, because they do not want to fight it. And what you see is negative, but that's the result of a fight. That's a result of necessary steps that independent anti-corruption bodies in Ukraine are taking to free and cure our country from that. Thank you so much for your understanding, for all the questions, and remember that we can talk more and in detail on our live this Saturday, 9 p.m. Kyiv. I will be happy to chat with you together with my beautiful team of, I have to say, moderators, but they are our guardians and friends. And remember to check my recent video on Anna Danilchuk channel, where we speak about problems in Putin's inner circle. And also follow me on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. All the links you will find in the description of this video, same as a link to our merch shop, where we have actually a beautiful t-shirt that reminds the world about Ukrainian flamingos and the things they can do. So do check. These products are perfect presents for a holiday season, and also a good way to remind people about our fight and the need to defeat Russia and thus become a beautiful and effective ambassador of Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, and helping me film, write, speak more, and introduce you to Ukraine with all its beautiful and problematic aspects. That's an honor. And let me know what are the other topics you'd like to be discussed here or on Anna Danilchuk channel. I'm always inspired by your support, by your critique, by your advice. Because we are friends, we are an amazing community, and sending you lots of love from Kyiv, the heart of brave Ukraine. Thank you once again, and Slava Ukraini!